in the golden light. Vic Reena hold the key. The real talk and humanity. Hello, everybody.
Hey everyone, it's Victoria
And it's Rena.
with the Shades of Pride with Vic and Rena. And we also have a guest with
We have
us.
a very special guest and a wonderful friend.
Yes. And so you can go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Hey guys, it's Jess Kell, and I live in Maryland with my wife slash co-parent and my 5-year-old.
All right.
Yay.
So we would like to welcome everyone, all the listeners, and say happy Pride.
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride. We could not kick off our Pride Month podcast without this wonderful guest.
No, we could not.
I personally could not wait for this one. guess we show favoritism.
Except all the stumbling blocks, but we're here.
Yes. We had to jump through hoops, loops,
Stone wall, you know.
we're
Dance
not on the stone wall,
classes.
We're here.
but we are here. So
What is it they used to say? We're here, we're queer, get used to it.
Yes.
There you go. But yeah, so happy Pride. So what we are gonna go into is first we're just gonna kind of say what we always say, how Sharina's week has went, how my week, and we'll throw in Jess's week as well. That's what we always do.
Yes, yes. You want me to? Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Rena. My week. Oh my God.
Well, first of all, what are you sipping on?
Oh, I always tell that. Yes, I have a hurricane, and our good friend asked me what was in it, and I never told her. I think it's, I think it's Everclear.
She had enough, she forgets.
I know it's Everclear for sure.
And something makes it red.
And like I think it's strawberry puree or something.
Yes.
I don't know. I'll look on chat. What's that?
Chat GPT.
Yeah, I can never say that, but I know it has Everclear in it, and it's very strong.
Yes.
It's a drink you want to sip very, very slowly.
The last time I drank Everclear was high school with Sharkleberry Fin Kool-Aid. And actually, I just saw somewhere the other, it was Rita's Italian Ice. They have Sharkleberry Fin Ice. And I'm like, are people getting that and putting grain alcohol in there again?
Probably.
High school throwback.
Yes. I miss Rita's Ice. Oh my God.
Oh, you don't have that?
No, they don't have it here. Not here in Texas.
Not here.
So
They
good.
in the Northeast and Midwest.
Yes. Oh my God.
I remember on the summers living in Chicago, you can they called it Italian's Ice. But is that the same thing?
Well, it's not the same
It
place,
is,
but
but
same type of ice.
Rita's has gelatis, so you get
Yes.
the custard and the ice, and
Yes.
it's layered and it's
I got
magical.
that in Philly.
Yep,
It's
you had it
so
in
good.
Philly. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I like gelati. Yeah.
Yep. So she's sipping on her drink.
Uh-huh.
And how was your week?
My week was very busy and very interesting. So y'all know I was sick for a little bit. I'm back. Not sick anymore.
And we skipped the week, so we got a lot to catch up on. But we're sorry for that.
Yeah. I think we talked about the whole picnic and stuff, right?
Yep. So the last thing we celebrated Memorial Day.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to help her out a little bit.
We celebrated Memorial Day. YJ is gone. Oh, he's gone. He's in Chicago with his family. But he's not with us. So we did celebrate with him. The little guy got straight A's. Woohoo!
Yay!
Yes.
He got straight A's.
I was one of the loudest parents in the room. Probably embarrassed him, but that's okay. So we went to his award ceremony. I videoed it, the whole thing, took pictures. I was a proud mom. And then Vic and I took him to Cece's. We always regret when we go to CC's, but
We don't have that here. I've never had that.
no,
It
it's
sounds like it's
really
the place that people love to hate. Like is it like you eat it and it's good, but then you feel terrible after?
Yes. Yep.
So it's like old school
exactly.
Denny's situation.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, kids love it because
Yeah.
especially YJ, and I know he's probably gonna listen. So he's like, well, Vic, you know what? It's $4.99. I'll give you my $4.99 allowance, and I can eat all you
Oh.
can eat.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll save up and I'll pay for y'all too, and or I'll do the Uber, and I just want to go there because I can eat all day.
And
I
he
was-
does
he,
literally.
he go back and forth, all you can eat pizza, and that's the
Oh
only time we
wow.
allow him to have his cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he plays the games, and they actually worked for him. A couple of times they gave him trouble, but you know, we played. He played games, and he actually had like extra credit on his CC's card.
Yes.
So that was good. So we did that, and then we took him to the Rangers game. Shout out to Laurel Wheeler Foundation for allowing us to do that. They sponsored, like they had tickets, and so we were able to get tickets from them and go. So that was really fun. Um, and then Vic took him to the airport after that. We didn't do any cookouts this year. That's because we were just
We were
busy,
at the
busy.
Rangers game.
Go, go, go. Yeah. It was
But we
really,
did jump in the pool,
yes,
and he got
yes.
some pool time in, and we played football. So that was our Memorial Day weekend. And yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun. So another thing is I did go to a crystal shop, which that will be another episode. I'm very fascinated in the crystals and things now.
So we did that this past weekend. We
Yes.
did that on Saturday. I made it a date night.
Good.
Or date
Nice.
date day. Because I was gonna go. I went and took her lunch. I don't know if y'all heard about that, but I took
She
her.
surprised me.
I was off on
Aw.
Friday. I took off. I took a mental day Friday, and I told her that I was gonna go take. I don't know. I told her that I was gonna
You
send her.
said, I will order you lunch today.
Yeah,
I
I
was
said
like,
I'll order.
okay, cool. And so you said, you know, let me know what you want. So I text you, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. I said, well, Uber Eats isn't here yet. I call her. She didn't answer. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. And I was going to look on Find My iPhone, but then I was like, no, because if she's surprising me, let it be a surprise. So I called, said, maybe she's busy. I don't know. So I'm standing outside, I'm waiting, and she texts me, and she's like, 3 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's going to be here in 3 minutes. So I'm waiting, I'm waiting. And then I hear this voice, Sharina. And I'm like, who is saying my name? And then she said it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know that voice anywhere. And so I literally just like a little kid, I was like, how, why, I didn't know you were coming. I was just
That's fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was very shocked. And because we used to have lunch together all the time when I worked in my old location, but the location moved. My job moved, so we're way out on the other
Yeah.
side. And so it was really cool to just have lunch and talk. And so
So the crystal shop is right by her job. So I was
yeah.
like, I'm gonna go after I drop right after lunch. And I was like, no, you know what? We could do a date. So we just did it the next day. So,
And that was fun.
but
That is fun.
yeah.
And did it smell amazing in there? Like all the
Oh my
incense and
God, it
stuff? I
smelled so
love
good.
those places. You just want
Yes.
you're like, can I just put all my clothes in here and then
Yes. You know, it kind of smells like it
Let's just
smells like
stay
a
there.
massage place, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
something healing, something just natural smells,
Just
like different
calming
oils,
energy.
calming
Yep.
energy. It was
Like
so
the
good.
incenses and the oils, and it's so
Yes.
nice.
I just
Sometimes, did
wanted
they
to
have a
stay there.
fountain or anything like the water flow?
No, not where we were at. No, there
Okay.
might have been one
It
in the
is a big
back because
place
it was
though.
a huge like warehouse slash
Yeah.
big
Nice.
place. But that was my first time ever going to a crystal shop. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of our friends in the WhatsApp group, they sent me a bunch of crystals, and they would always talk about the crystal stores. And I'm like, you know what? I just, I don't know. I think I was just nervous on going in there and seeing how they would treat us since we're visually impaired. But
They were
they
really
were so
nice.
helpful.
No, listen, they are like you can feel the energy better. Like it's like people thinking that we can all play music.
Yes.
They
yes.
think that about the energy stuff too.
Yes.
And so actually people are really excited.
Yes.
Is my
She
experience.
was the sweetest lady. She was just like, yes, here, touch everything. She was
So yeah, I bought a bunch of little crystals and I walked out of there spending $34. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
That's great.
for
Yeah.
all
That's
we
great.
bought. I was
Because we
like,
got the small crystals, but they also had this one that I'm gonna try to get for my birthday. It's like $210.
it's huge.
But it's a huge one, and
Is it like a geode or?
I think so. It was an amethyst, but
Oh, okay.
it was real big. Not huge, like standing tall. It was long ways, and it was just wide. But she said that they charge by the weight.
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Because I saw a bunch of things on their website that was like $1,000, $1,200, $400. I
Wow.
was like, "What is this crystal gonna do for me?"
You're like,
we
we're
went
window
there,
shopping today.
right? I was like, well, I was just going in there to look. I was like, I don't think I can afford anything in here. But when I kept admiring the bracelet, she's like, oh, that's only $8. I said, oh,
She said that's about 8 to 12, and I was like, $8 or $800.
No, this wasn't a diamond bracelet.
Right. Because Serena just kept on like looking at the oh, I want that one. Oh,
and I brought 3.
she got 3 bracelets.
Nice. You know, though, you can get rainbow ones. I'm sure they're because of the chakras too.
Yes.
Yes.
That's gonna be our next
one.
next ones. Yep. So we went over our week, ma'am.
How was
How was yours?
My weeks have been good. Memorial Day was great. We went to a cookout. I was a little unsure because I know they are the people that hosted our military or retired military and more conservative, not like Trumpublicans, but definitely more conservative. And I didn't know if it would get weird, but it was so great. And we were just outside and drinking beers and eating grilled food. And my kid was so happy. Like we got home and she goes, some of those kids were like really intense. She goes, but I am so happy. It's like that's what you want to hear at the end of the day. So that was great. The last couple weeks I feel like are just the like race to the end of the year. So we had field day today, which is like a bunch of water games outside at the school and parents can come and watch, which was really cool, but really hurt my feelings. It's I struggle sometimes when you can't actually watch your kid and you don't know and you like that background.
Yes.
Sort of like, what do I do? Because I feel so out there. But she loved it. We got to take her home early. Let's see. This weekend is her first dance recital. So
exciting.
Ballet, hip hop, tap, and acro. So that's gonna be really fun. I'm sure she's a little nervous, but she's such my little actress queen. And then Monday is graduation. Kindergarten graduation. So I'm
kindergarten, right?
Yeah, kindergarten. So I'm gonna pack the tissues. I'll be crying all weekend. And then
she's going to first grade?
She's gonna go to first grade, yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, my little miracle. That's why I need another. My miracle embryo is getting too big.
Oh my goodness.
I cannot believe it.
I thought she was like in pre-K going into kindergarten.
No, she's gonna be 6 in July.
When's July? Wow.
Yep. Little baby.
Well, our little big guy, my mom was just talking today. She's like, he's gonna be almost 11 when he comes back. I said, no, he's 10, he's gonna be 11 right after he comes back. And I'm like, and she was like, oh, well, him taking out the trash needs to move up. We need to do another chore. I was like, yes, Mom. You know what? My next thing is I'm gonna buy a lawnmower and he's gonna be mowing the grass. So
the lawn guy that
let me yes.
And then we can say YJ.
Hey, we have a manual lawnmower, so if I didn't worry about my kids' kind of clumsy tendencies, I'd be like, you want to push that around a little bit and see what happens?
Right. Right. So that's what I think we might do.
I can't believe he's going to be 11.
Yeah. And I watched my niece and nephew. They're twins, and they graduated on Friday, and they were streaming it. And I was watching, and they did this song before the ceremony, and I was just like nose dripping, crying. Like it was all about like you've been there and gone through our dreams with us, and now we're ready to walk through the door, but we're not gone. And I'm just like, because they're so big, because I can't handle it. Like my kid's gonna be there, and I'm gonna be like, what do I do now? And all of that. So it was intense.
Oh my goodness.
And then a week from Monday, 2 weeks from today, my fairy pocket child, which is my niece who I was there when she was born, she's gonna graduate, and she's gonna give a speech. And
oh my goodness,
I'm gonna cry.
She's graduating from high school?
From high school, and she's had Crohn's and POTS, and she was bullied, and she ended up doing virtual school, and she's just like, she's amazing.
Oh, well, y'all.
My twin cousins graduated too, and I cried.
Yeah, did you get to watch it?
I did not get to watch it, but they did post pictures, and what's so cool is I got to take the pictures and put it in my eyes, and I was like, oh my God, they're so pretty.
Be My Eyes, like I feel like having the ability to actually run pictures through that, it like made my kid more real. It gave me a better glimpse into just her and all the things that I know I'm missing out on. And so,
I was gonna tell you, like, even while you're like on field day, like you can get Be My Eyes and have them on the phone and just point out your child and tell them to tell you everything she's doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, meta glasses. Oh my God, I love my meta glasses.
Because I think that would be awesome. Because that's what I do. That's what I used to do when YJ was playing soccer or like football. Obviously he's in the middle of the field, but like somebody was like, oh yeah, YJ's going up. I was like, okay, cool. So I would take like either have Be My Eyes or Ira on the phone and just kind of describing stuff, or I would just take those pictures and I would run them through, and it would, tell us, hey, they're huddling up, they're doing this. And it's just cool to have that visual.
Yeah, because you missed out on that.
Yes.
Just like the award ceremony, I was like, oh my God, I hope, because I was doing it on my meta glasses, the video, and they only do like 3 minutes. And so I'm like, oh my God, I hope it gets YJ. Like, I hope it captures YJ. I can't tell when he's about to come up next. Otherwise, I'll just start the video there. I'm biased, but yeah, that's what I would have done.
Of course. That's what anybody would do.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to try to run her recital, or see if there's a way to cut the video apart and then run it through PixieBot and then put it up.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So kind of went into a little bit of that. So what we were going to open with was, since it is Pride Month.
Yes.
June 1st through June 30th.
The
flag was lowered here in Dallas on May 31st. Yes. And I think we're going to try to go find out where it's at, which I think it's at the city of Dallas. And I want to go take a picture there with the flag.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I want to do. But personally, I wanted to go over what pride means to all of us. So with our guests, we're gonna let you go first. Normally the queen over here goes first, but we're gonna let Jess go first. And what does pride mean to you?
Pride means a lot of things. Pride means being happy about who I am. And, there's that question of, I feel like a lot of people talk about pride in disability. And I will say, I identify as a lesbian before a blind person, which is weird because it's the really obvious thing visually if people encounter me. But like, it was fun. It was terrifying. And so I think it ultimately became such sort of a victory and such a fun, exciting thing to be like, yay, I'm gay, and here are my people, and like finding community and all that stuff. So it's that. It's, I think, having a group of people to fight for and with, because like I think about back when I'm trying to think, I think it was Defense of Marriage Act happened first. That got overturned and it was like, okay, cool. I think I'm saying that right. And then when living in Maryland in 2012, that election year, we got to vote for gay marriage in the state. It was a citizens vote. And I think a lot of states it was judge rule, court rule, but we got to vote yes on question 6 and got to watch with all these people downtown in the city in Baltimore, like to watch the results roll in, and the mayor was there and the governor was there and the balloons dropped from everywhere. It was amazing. And then I remember, always makes me cry. Like I remember when federal marriage was legalized and I was at work and someone came in my office and I was just like, oh my God, like we can all do this now. Like, and I was just crying. And my friend was like, I'm so excited for you, but I'm also, why did it have to come this far? Like, why? This seems like such a basic thing. And so, I feel like Pride is saying nothing gets to stop us because love is love, and people can be uncomfortable and think about all the aspects of our lives that they want to think about. But like when you rip it all down and look at the base of it, it's humanity. So that's, and I think Pride is, for me, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit, is just all of the struggle that I went through and all of the fear that I went through as a gay blind person trying to become and then becoming a mom. Because I remember calling the clinics, and the first fertility clinic that I called, they specifically said helping husbands and wives. And so I called them and I'm like, I noticed that with your language, like, are gay people welcome there? And they were like, oh yeah. And I'm like, okay, because your website says, and like being afraid to walk into these clinics and being afraid they would treat me differently, treat me like I had no business being there, all of those things. And actually I was pleasantly surprised. And it could be because I was coming in with a sighted person, but the reality is they often didn't talk to her as much as they talked to me. And sometimes she was really mad about that. Like I remember fetal medicine doctors, she would say, well, that he didn't even really talk to me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm the body. Like they're gonna talk to me because I'm the medical patient, but you're welcome to be like, hey, I want to be in. Like you have to put yourself in too. But how surprising, because so often the stories are that the other person in the room is addressed, not us. So I've been pleasantly surprised.
Right. Okay. Well, that's,
I like that.
I like that. I mean, that I was gonna say the same. Like, normally it is us sitting there like, well, I could talk for myself, So it sucks that she experienced that, but for once it was
welcome to my life. Every day.
Welcome to my world.
Know how that
And now you got to do what I have to do. I have to advocate for myself.
Exactly. Don't just pout. Do something.
Don't pout. Just do something about it. Say, hey, I'm here, by the way. Well, that's an awesome story. Do you want to go?
Yeah, so what pride means to me is like acceptance and being able to live my truth. For the longest time, I've told my story on here, but not to take up too much time, but I struggled with my identity. And for the longest, I was bisexual, which that's what I identified as and lived my life as other people wanted me to live. And it caused me to be in really unhappy situations. Um, but now I get to live what I dream about. I get to be married to a woman. I get to raise a child with a woman. I get to live life with a woman, and to me that means so much. I love what you said, Jess, about how you identify first as a lesbian before blind. I do that too. I'm yeah, I just, it's came so natural to me. Like that is who I am. Like I'm gay and I'm proud and I own my truth. I really don't care at this point in my life who I make feel uncomfortable because I've lived so much of my life pleasing everybody. So now it's like I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna do what I want. And I feel like every day is pride for us because we're always having to fight and we're always having to prove and all the things. And so I love pride. I look forward to pride every year now, um, especially since I came out and identified as lesbian. So pride for me is acceptance.
Good.
Awesome.
So pride for me, I, you know, I feel like we're kind of playing a jigsaw with the country. So I feel like first I'm able to live my truth. I'm able to be myself. For a while, up until I was, like I said, 26, I identified as bisexual, but for the most part, like I told people before, that I felt like I was just doing that to be accepted, to be cool, and to make my family happy and friends. But I wasn't happy, right? So I knew I didn't want to be with guys, and once I gathered that, that's kind of when I started just living for me and being able to be prideful of that, to identify as a lesbian. That's who I was. I I felt happy then, and before, and even recently, I felt like I would always advocate and just fight for, like, be different organizations, and that had to do with being blind. But I was like, you know what, there's more to that than just being blind. I want to fight for my LGBT family, and that's what I wanted to do. Like, that's me. And ever since I've started to do that over the few years, that's where I feel like I celebrate pride. That's pride to me, is being able to fight and keep our all of our, like, the marriage rights, all that in place, and making sure hopefully that doesn't get taken away. um and moving from the different states, kind of like you said, you were in Maryland, and when all that happened and you got to see all that roll in.
Oh my God, that would have been so cool. I would have been crying.
It was amazing, but I was dating someone who ended up becoming a stalker, so that wasn't so great. But that was the
Right.
negative part of it. But it like, so I felt very smothered. I'm like, can I just be among all these people and not?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Leave me
You
alone.
leave me alone.
Let me have
oof, can you just let me breathe?
Right. So, like, going from the different states, like being in a blue state, like when I met Sharina, and just being there and accepted by all the families and people there, is definitely different than coming back
here, yeah.
to a state in Texas. And
Same.
now I felt a little timid or shut out, or just like, man, they're gonna look at us different, they're treating us different. And then I even catch myself sometimes, like, are they being this way because we're minorities, or are they being this way because we're blind, or are they being this way because we're gay?
And I think the answer is yes.
Yes.
That's the worst part. Like, you're multiply marginalized, and
Yes.
yeah.
And at that point, like I told Sharina the other day, we haven't done an update about what happened to us on our anniversary day, but it ended up being something, like I told Sharina. Was it because we were
Right.
minority?
It
Or
really affected us emotionally.
it affected us emotionally, because I was like, I had my pride shirt on. I had it was a Hilfiger shirt, tank top with the rainbow flag.
Mm-hmm.
And was that the reason why she came off real bad?
Right.
It was just
But
rude.
you know what? For me, when I fought for that and got results from me, I felt so. It was like God was just kind of answering us, because when I got on the call with the vice president and the director of the legal team, he was LGBT, and he specific.
And she,
And
Oh,
she was
wow.
visually impaired, and he even
Oh,
said,
wow.
he said
so she messed up.
she messed up, and we ended up getting results. But that guy told me when he hung up the phone, he goes,
said, keep wearing your pride.
keep wearing your pride. Don't stop. And
That's
he's
awesome.
so like that right there, just it was like, you know what, stand up for our rights. And that's just kind of what I want to do. Like I said, like that's my pride. Like,
and I also feel like we have to right now because trans people aren't safe. Like especially trans people are so unsafe to be seen and known to be trans. And so like I feel like if it's a little simpler, if we are a little less, and like everybody's in danger, but we're a little less in imminent danger than the trans folk, I feel like. So we got to do it, you know?
Right. And we have to stand up for them because,
right.
you know, you would think that they would stand up for us if it was us losing, you know, certain things.
Yep.
So I think it's just, I don't think Pride is just the month of June. It's basically if you're gay, queer, and proud, it's every day.
It is, and it's gratitude. And then I'll shut up. But it's gratitude because I feel like for me, so when I knew, I was like, oh God, what? Like it was a light bulb moment, and there was no question. Yeah. And so my sisters were like, well, maybe you're bi, and I'm like, I'm not going to date men. No, I'm not. I don't want to sleep with your friends. No. And and like I was. It was 1997 into 98 when I was figuring it out. And then Matthew Shepard died.
Yep.
And
oh, yes.
I will never forget being in this small town college where y'all lived. And they gave out these little rainbow triangle magnets, and you could put it on your door outside of your dorm room to symbolize that you were a safe space. And it was really important to get that magnet, and my best friend and I roomed together, and I was like, no, but we each need one. Like, I want one. She's like, why? You're not even, and I wasn't out to anybody, including my gay roommate. But because I just had to work through it for a while. Like I couldn't handle it, and I had to process it. It took me a year to just shut up and be with it and figure it all out and figure out if I could handle it and whatever before I even talked about it. But I felt like this guy was killed. And so I have to be myself.
Yes.
Because, like, why wouldn't I? Like, this guy suffered and was targeted and all of that. So it just, the musicians were doing benefits concerts and like activism stuff, and it was an incredible and terrifying time, and it was just we had to.
Right.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, do you want to go ahead and get into it?
Yes. I'm sorry. I just got a little emotional.
I'm gonna have to go grab Kleenexes for everybody. We're gonna make sure we have Kleenexes everywhere with this episode. So
listen, the therapy office, I may not have clients in here because it's virtual, but I got tissues.
So for the listeners out there, warning, make sure you have Kleenex.
Yes.
Sure you can't warn afterwards.
Well, you know, we got more coming, so grab your Kleenexes, you know.
True story.
All right, so we've talked about pride, and so pride is power. That is our theme for the month. Pride is power. And judging by all of us and saying what pride means to us, pride is power. And so Jess, it's an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you guys. You guys are exemplary. So you guys are what I aspire to when I grow up.
Well, I'm still growing. So.
Well, I know. We all are, but you know what I mean. The joy. I guess the joy and the joy and the easy rapport.
There you go.
It's truly an honor. I think Vic has been waiting for this episode. So let's get into it. So thank you for sharing with us about what pride means. So let's get into like the journey. You did tell us a little bit about when you came out and how you had to process that. Like what are some things like did you struggle with like coming out? I know back then it was like 1998, 97, like you said.
So I grew up in a small rural area of Pennsylvania, And I knew about a couple presumably gay people. Like there was the rumors about the two girls who people caught in the bathroom. Who knows if that was real, but it was like,
Yeah.
what? And there was the guy that sometimes wore skirts to school. So of course, we assumed, of course, that
Right.
meant he was gay because we didn't talk about or even have language for trans and non-binary and all those things.
Right.
And like, I remember being in college and hanging out with this girl that I had been in high school with, and we were kind of like, we hung out together because we didn't know anyone else, right? You find the person who's familiar.
Yes.
And I remember us talking, and I don't know, we were talking about gay people, and she goes, "Well, you'd be surprised to find out who we went to school with that's gay." Ha ha ha. And I'm like, why are you laughing? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
duh, it means it was her very uncomfortable way of wanting to come out but not saying it, and it took me a little while to piece it together and all of that stuff. But it was a shock, and nobody talked about it really. Like you just didn't. There was like the gay dude on the swim team. That was kind of it.
Yeah.
So it was weird, and like I didn't know. And my family did well, did something happen to you? When you dated that one guy at the end of high school, did a thing no. It's just that finally all the things that people get excited about make sense. Like having a crush on somebody and imagining a relationship, and like the little stuff like the hand holding and the kiss, just even imagining that felt so much more right than everything I had ever done prior to that in kind of heteronormative experiences. And so it was hard, and it was awkward, and it was like, well, how do you know if you can't check out women? Okay, well, I don't know, but I don't have to see them to know that I am attracted to them, because you just feel it's chemistry, right?
Right.
It's the vibe, like whatever. And oh well, how do you know if you haven't dated someone? Cool. So I should just be like, hey, can I date you, assuming I'm straight, but then see what happens? What? That doesn't even make sense. But so it was a lot of explaining to people. I never came out to my mom. She died when I was 21. And I remember she knew, and she said to me, well, I just want to let you know that if you ever want to bring a girlfriend home or whatever, it's fine. And I'm like, Mom, stop. And she's like, oh, but I can't imagine. Ooh, oh. And so it's like, well, you just shut me right down. I'll never tell you.
You'll never know.
I'll never tell you. Her spirit knew, obviously. I said that the night that she died. I was like, I told her, like, her whatever entity she was at that point was like, I do like women. So that was really hard. The other thing that was weird is I felt like sighted people, and I had multiple people say this. Sighted people would say, oh, it's going to be really hard for you to ever find a relationship. You got that triple whammy. You're a woman, you're blind, and you're gay. Like, how are you going to find someone? Like yes.
So
I remember.
Was that like specifically towards women, or would they say that even if you were going to be with a man too?
Well, no, it was about being gay. So I had a bi woman say that to me, an older bi woman say that. Well, she secretly said it to my aunt, who passed it on to me. And then I had a gay guy that I worked with. He goes, oh, dating must be hard. And I'm like,
what?
Actually, it's not, but thanks for the vote of confidence.
Right.
And then, I've had like two men and a woman all say that to me. And I'm like, no,
I'm blind, not deaf.
I can get picked up at the Drag King show just like the rest of you people, okay?
Right.
Which happened. The woman comes up, I'd like it if you would take my number, but all I have to write on is my motorcycle permit. Yes, please. That was the coolest thing. I think that was my coolest pickup story ever. Like, and that was a fun year. It was a fun year.
Yes.
That sounded fun.
That
So
is a good pickup line, though.
yeah, so that was hard. I did some online sort of stuff. Like I tended to meet people just through circumstance, but then I'd say like 2010, 2011, I put myself up there on OkCupid, which I also like to call OK Stupid.
Yes.
And I decided that I was going to be out about it and just out about the blindness aspect. Obviously, I was out about the gay part. And so just say it like, oh, because they ask a question about your car. And my car is a guide dog. Just put it in there, be a little subtle about it. But sort of see how people would react. And I got hits, and I got a friend to help me make sure that the pictures were okay. And it was fine, but it was easier for me. I felt like if I'm gonna be rejected, reject me without me knowing it. See that
Right.
information, because the lesbian community, the gay community in general, can be sort of shallow at times and
Oh, yes.
surface. And I never knew if I would be the right type and the right body type. And I was really tiny then. And I know people were like, oh, nobody wants a really skinny, thin girl. Yeah, well, life changed. I'm not. Next. But I was.
I experienced that too. I know exactly. I used to be very,
Yeah.
very small and
Yeah.
very, very tiny. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not that anymore, though.
Me too.
Sorry, blame it on the children.
Those days are gone.
Yeah. Blame it on the children. Blame it on the hormone shifts.
Yes,
Blame it on all that stuff.
everything.
And blame it on the alcohol.
Yep. Blame it on the Cabernet.
And the coffee we love so much.
Yep.
Coffee?
Coffee. Yeah, coffee is my energy drink. Instead of taking Red Bull, I just go stop by Dutch Bros
Oh,
and give
okay.
me a cup of coffee in the morning.
Yes.
Because that's the only thing that will keep me going.
That's how I turn from zombie to human in the mornings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
me. Yes. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. I was just very curious because I don't think we've ever talked about that before. So that's
Yeah, I probably haven't.
yeah, so that's really good. So you are a proud mommy of a beautiful little girl. What are like some of the challenges that you faced while, you know, I know you talked a little bit about, calling
Mm-hmm.
the clinics and they, well, first of all, let me start. What made you decide, like, okay, this is it? I want to have a child. Have you always wanted
No,
children? No.
absolutely not. In my 20s, I was like, y'all can have the babies. I'm not going to change my body. I'm just going to borrow your babies and feed them chocolate and send them home and be the fun aunt.
Sounds like a beautiful wife over here.
See, that is still my motto. Like she wants to have a baby, and I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, before we get married, you were having the baby. I would do whatever.
We were dating.
Because I don't want to mess up my body.
But I agree. I love
It's
those
amazing.
skills.
Yeah, I would be like, great, because I don't honestly want to share. It's mine again. I want to do it again.
I'm like, we get to bond. I get to talk to the baby inside.
Oh my God. Like yes, and you lay in the middle of the night when they start to roll around in your body and they gently wake you up and you're just like, that's my baby. And like I would walk around and be like, okay, tiny human, we're going to go travel here now and just talk to her all the time. And
yeah, that's what I used to do.
One of my coworkers texted me right before my birth, my induction, and she was like, and this one made me cry too. She said, enjoy the last couple of days with her under your heart.
Aww.
And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I don't want to ever share this. Like, it is so special. But so yeah, I didn't want babies. And then 30 hit, and my niece, who is now graduating, was born just before that, I guess. And I was in the room, and my sister gave birth, and she was such a freaking hero, and such a hero that her 7-year-old at the time was like, you're not saying ow that much. And she was like, what? She was like, you said you were going to say ow a lot and you're not saying ow that much. And like just being there and her being like, we'd be talking and then she'd be like, I gotta push. And it was just like that. And she would just have another contraction. And then the baby came and like I got to hold her and she had her little cone head and all of that. And I was just like, this is amazing. Like I got to be here. It was an honor. And I got to hold this brand new being. And like maybe I want that. And then I dated a woman with kids and we dated for 2 years. And there was an age difference and she was, you know, kind of like at a very different place in her life career wise and stuff like that. I was in grad school and it just ultimately we just didn't have enough to keep us together, to keep us growing.
Yes.
And it was really hard for a while, but one of the things I remember figuring out very quickly after the breakup is, well, I could have kids now. Because I remember her telling me about like she and her partner's insemination and being like, that's like spiritual, man. Like, whoa.
Yes.
Holy crap. And so I started to really, I don't know, my biological clock was like, hey, I'm here. So you are going to want to have a baby now and you better hurry up and do it. Like I would be in cabs sometimes and like be riding with these cab drivers thinking like, if I wanted to just seduce a dude right now and get myself pregnant, I probably could. I'm not going to do that, but I would think about it. Like it was weird. Like your ovaries make you think some crazy stuff.
They do. The biological clock is very real.
It is amazing and it is cruel. And so like I dated the person who ended up being kind of stalkery and all that stuff and knew very quickly like no you're not. And I was dating for who is a person that would also have these common goals with me because I was so 2012 2013 I was like 33 34 and then I met my wife and she definitely wanted kids. Like she wanted kids enough that she and her ex had tried and she knew that she couldn't carry and like her hormone levels for egg follicle stuff, fertility nerd stuff, were definitely low. And so I was like, great, because I want to do it.
You're like, I got you.
and I'm 10 years younger.
There you go.
And she had a procedure. So like she had fibroids and a procedure. And so she couldn't carry anyway at that point after their relationship. And so you know, we got together knowing like if we're going to do this, we're going to have kids and it's going to happen kind of quickly because time's a moving. You know, I was 34 and so we moved in together after a couple years and then we got to the fertility clinic and not the clinic. We went to an individual doctor and she was terrible. No. Fat shaming, like critiquing me when I was at 129 pounds, still like, were you gonna lose any more weight?
Are you serious? Oh,
put me on metformin, which is diabetic medication for a year, diagnosed me with PCOS, which I do not have. She was horrible. And she was the kind of doctor who, you know, if you're having an invasive exam where they're shooting dye into your fallopian tubes and you say, so can you tell me what you're doing as you do it, as it happens? You want me to tell you what I'm doing?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to know what's happening to my body. And the fact that, so it was awful. We did do an insemination. We miscarried. It was a roller coaster. Like she was texting me, I think you're having an ectopic. We're going to schedule you for an ultrasound for 6 days from now to see. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
Went in, it was very small sac, went in again, there was a heartbeat, went in again, there wasn't. It was a hard summer. That was 2016, so I was 37. And we inseminated again right before the wedding. And it didn't work. And then she texted me like a week before the wedding and said, your labs are consistent with low ovarian reserve, which basically means I have no eggs. There's nothing else we can do. Stop all the meds. Come in if you want to talk about donor eggs. She told me you don't want to use donor embryos because they're from people who have issues with fertility. So obviously, why would you want to use those?
What?
That's what she said about donor embryos. So that was devastating. Also, my sister was pregnant accidentally at the same time. And so I was watching her grow and seeing that I should have been a month behind her. It was,
yeah.
I was a mess. So I quit that doctor, went to acupuncture, went to Shady Grove, which is my clinic here. They have places everywhere and they've been fantastical.
I thought they're awesome.
They're great. They're really great. And we tried to do another insemination, did a lot of meds to try to get me to have follicle for egg stimulation. They bumped my last egg follicle ever out with the ultrasound probe. I'm like, no, it's the last one. Like, that's the only thing. It was there and then it disappeared. They were like, can you come back later today? We'll do a free one because we just want to look. No, they were gone. So then I built my credit. Then I built my credit for a year because I thought I was going to be doing 30 grand for donor eggs. And then a year later, they were like, well, actually, we have this donor embryo program. And so if you pay for the cost of 2 tries, it is a 6 tries or your money back guarantee. You can quit anytime, get your money back. So we did it. And that was in 2018. I was 39 and I was pregnant on my 40th birthday.
Oh, there you go.
So that was amazing. Like,
happy 40th.
Yeah.
That's the way to bring in 40.
It was definitely not the party that my sister had, but it was quiet and like terrifying because when you've lost a pregnancy, then you're just like, oh, am I gonna? Yeah, so it's terrifying, like, for so long. But yeah, so that was the stuff that we went through just trying to have Amelie, and she is the miracle baby. And she knows, she goes, well, now, because she knows she's an embryo baby. She knows she's a donor embryo. She goes, were I made in a lab? And I'm like, you sure were. You're a miracle of science. And like, she knows that another family had their babies and they had extra baby seeds and they gave them to families that they didn't even know who really wanted to have a baby. And she knows she's a rainbow. And I said, you're a rainbow because when mommies have babies that don't stay growing in their bodies and don't come to be in this world, they cry. And then when you come, you're the miracle. So you're the rainbow after the tears and after like the rain. And so she's a rainbow snowflake. And so now she started saying, like, well, when I was in the baby seed shop, we had iPads and we didn't. And I'm like, did you know you had you had an iPad in my body? Yeah, mommy. I'm like, cool, okay.
Oh, that is so cute.
That's a good story.
Yep. But she knows she was a baby seed and she grew into a flower and she continued to stay and grow until she came out of my body.
Aww.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm totally stealing that when we had that. Stealing that one. That is cute. That is perfect.
Yeah.
So at what so she is well,
she'll be 6.
So she'll be
in
6
July.
I cannot believe it.
And she's going into
first grade.
Okay.
I can't take it.
I love her. Like, she is the best little girl.
We might have to get a little sample of her at the end.
We tried to adopt her, but the mommy said no.
I would babysit her any day. Any day of the
week. Move back. Leave the red state. Come on.
We're trying.
Okay.
I was like, I would babysit her all day.
Pack up your mom and let's go.
That's gonna be the.
And you know what? Maybe I'll leave this state too. We'll just get a commune, okay?
Yeah.
So she's going into first grade. So she's 6. So at kids are growing so fast now. They're so intelligent at their age now. So at what age did you let her know?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Let her know this.
Explain it and what age?
I've always talked about it. I talked about it to her before she was verbal because one of the things that we had to do when we were going through this, using any kind of assisted reproductive technology. When we were going to use donor sperm with our clinic, we had to go meet with a social worker and say, yes, we plan to tell the child that they're donor conceived. And then when we chose embryos, they were like, yep, you got to go back and do it again. And I'm like, but why? They're like, because it's a different kind now. So we did it again. And what they basically do is ask you, do you plan to tell your kid Of course. Great. Here are a bunch of books on how you can do that. Well, spoiler alert, one of the things they don't have, there's a book series called The Pea That Was Me, and it's about donor embryos, but they are all represented by hetero couples. There is not a book that represents gay couple with donor embryo. So maybe we're gonna have to write it. It's gonna be called The Baby Seed Shop, but I don't know.
Right. Oh, wow. I think you should write it. I think so.
And she could color the pictures. It would be amazing.
Right.
But yeah, so
I think
I've
that
always
should be your 50th goal.
Yeah. Now my 50th goal is going to be another one at this rate. Good God.
There you go.
I like that, the baby seed shop.
Yeah, the baby seed shop.
And that's her. She's like the baby. When I was in the baby seed store, I'm like, oh, because I did kind of choose her. Like I chose her.
Knows? She might write it.
She should. Listen, no, she'll do a performance art, one woman show with song, dance, theatrics, costumes. That's what she'll do. This kid. But
awesome. She's amazing.
She is. I'm biased, but I always tell her, if your middle name wasn't Rain, it would have been Joy, because you are my joy. Like she really is.
She radiates that. Like even when we hear her on our groups, like she is just the cutest little girl. I'm just like in awe. I'm like, I want one.
Yes. Yeah.
She's just the cutest.
But she knows about that. We haven't talked about donor siblings yet, because obviously she knows she came from a family who had enough babies and they were ready to give the rest of their seeds up. At some point, we will talk about that a little more. It's going to click for her and she's going to be like, so what about those? Yeah. Where are they?
Where are they? Yeah.
Right. And that's scary. Like, are we good enough? Will they be okay that a gay couple got their embryo? Like, no, I'm saying seed, and that sounds icky. Like, will they think we were good enough? You know, there's a lot of fear in that, I think, like as gay and both of us being disabled in different ways, parents, did we do good by them? Because the donor father is Chinese, and like they were going to teach theirs Mandarin, and they put a lot of very specific things in their essay that made me think they're going to be open and hopeful to hear from their recipients, which is part of why we chose them. And because there was an age difference like Leah and I. So hopefully and I think it's going to be a when she's ready and inquisitive and that kind of moment clicks into her brain, we're going to let her guide what she needs and what she wants.
Yes.
Right. So does she have, at some point in her life, will she have a way to reach out to them?
So it's anonymous. When you donate your extra embryos back to the clinic, you donate anonymously. But when I last spoke with one of the doctors, and it's been, 70 years since we started that process and got her, or began that process of acquiring sort of this whole cycle, it was very much like, no, it's anonymous. You sign off on that. But I said to them, the doctor recently, I said, there are Facebook groups where they are trying to connect people. She said, yeah, we know. She said, we know it's happening underground. And so our goal is to get it a little more above ground and to see like who is open to it. And maybe we can just help facilitate that conversation among families.
Yeah.
Right.
But if not, I mean, which one had all of the horrible crap with their data? It was either 23andMe or the other Ancestry. I don't remember which one.
Right.
But whatever that one is, we won't go on there. But when she's ready, it would be that easy. I would be shocked if they or their two boys are not on there. Because she has donor brothers.
Okay.
Okay.
That are 7 and 10. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
That is.
It's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I mean that would be, like something I would want to know.
Yeah.
Because as far as me being adopted, like people thought my mom was crazy for telling me when I was 6 because I was a little kid, and they're like, back then we were smart, but we weren't as smart as the 6-year-olds are today.
They're very
Yeah.
And
You
so
can't trick them.
I just remember like they were looking at my mom like, well, why'd you tell her that? She's not even gonna know the difference. But I did. I
You did.
understood.
And the healthiest thing is to make it a conversation that's comfortable and normal so that you were chosen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of the way it was. Because I also know people who were adults and they found out at a later time, and they were pissed off.
And
there are Facebook groups for children of donor egg, sperm, etc. And they get on there and they're like, what you guys are doing is horrible. You shouldn't be making more kids. My life has been so horrible because when I was 35, I found out that. And I'm like, why?
Oh,
Right.
yeah. That
Why?
could have been a conversation a long time ago.
I'm so
Yes.
sorry for you. Like,
Yeah.
my conversation is this is an amazing gift from a stranger, and I'm lucky and I'm grateful, and I picked you.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And that's very healthy and loving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the way that I would want to introduce that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess one other question I have, and you don't have to answer it if you're not comfortable, but I just wanted to know. I know we have personally asked you different questions outside of the stuff, but like if someone's out there listening and they are interested in wanting to do this, rather with the partner or by themselves, I guess what would be your advice, and like
Do it.
how would they find a good, like how would they know, I guess, to what kind of place to look for, especially if they're LGBT, things like that.
I feel like, so first of all, there is an LGBT embryo match group on Facebook that I'm in.
Okay.
I don't think I'll go through all of that because you have to pay for like the legal stuff, and it's great because a lot of these people want semi-open at least updates or things like that, which I think is really neat. I know a straight woman who did that. She adopted some babies and or some embryos and had them, I think that was Tennessee. There is a huge donor embryo set up like organization down there, but I think they may be conservative Christian. I'm not sure. So it's tricky. Like you do have to find either I say find the LGBT groups. There were always in the early days, there was the lesbian TTC groups trying to conceive, and people talking about, they get their sample and they put it in the little like they're called Instead. It's like the disposable menstrual cups, and you just put it in there and boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I've heard of that when I was doing my research.
Yeah. Finding people that are LGBT friendly, finding people also that are a little more natural, I think, is often you're going to find people that are pretty open. Our doula, who is like a kind of like a birth assistant, I looked on her Facebook and I was like, oh, she went to a very right-wing conservative college. I don't know if this is going to work, but like I'm so glad that I just trusted the recommendations locally and reached out, because she is like, I just love her, and I don't talk to her that much, but she's like, you speak to her and you just feel like her kindness, and I don't know. I'm just really glad. And so maybe that's something too, finding your local LGBT groups and saying, hey, where do you guys go? Because the blind thing will probably not be a huge issue. I mean, I guess it depends on presentation, but
Yeah.
was less of an issue for me than I expected.
Okay.
And the gay thing, like, I can't say it's not an issue, but where I am, I know that I am in a state where I am so lucky. And so we transferred our second embryo, which was her donor match. We did that in February. And because I was like, I'm terrified, Trump is the father of IVF. I don't think so. And I need to get this baby out of the freezer and into my body. And like, just calling the clinic and saying, like, I'm scared if we delay it. Like, what happens if we have to push it back by 3 weeks? What if they take over? What if it's Handmaid's Tale kind of situation around here? And she was like, you're fine. It's this state, you're safe. We do worry about our clients in other states like Georgia and some of these other states, but here it's just not going to be a problem, at least in the foreseeable future. And so, there's
that's a blessing.
It is. It is. It is.
And that's what
I think that's what we are like we well, she jokes about it, but I think she really wants a baby. I think so. But
let's get a commune, because if I can't have another, I'll just snuggle it and wear it. And I want to wear a baby again. I love wearing babies.
I'm like, I think that's one of the things she worries about, though, because she needs everything. And she's like, I would love for you to have our child, but I do not want you to have it in Texas.
And that's a smart idea. Like, I would say stop doom scrolling, but I mean, the reality is, and I just heard a situation from someone in one of the LGBT groups that I'm in about that a friend of theirs was on a boat in Austin yesterday, and it was one of 4 boats that got docked, and it was the only one that got checked out. And they were like, is it because we're minorities? Is it because we're gay? Like, what is it?
Right. Yeah. And that's facts.
And that's Austin.
So I do agree with that. So we probably have to move to blue state.
Like I told her, like, we can't, like, we just got settled here, like, the last couple of years, and we've been through a lot. But like I told her, if you really want to have a kid, like, your clock is ticking. But also, hey, Jess is this age, and maybe we
guess what? As long as your uterus can hold a baby, you don't need to worry about your eggs. Just get a baby seed.
Yes.
Right, and that's what we were thinking. And
I
that's
am
what I told her.
menopausal because of my egg reserve and stuff like that. And let me tell you, it feels really nice to get pumped up on estrogen, and not so nice to get the progesterone shots. They're 1.5-inch long needle. They kind of suck, but it's worth it.
Right. Do you do it yourself, or does your wife?
So I got Leah to do some of them, but some of them I do to myself. I did a really bad job this go around when I was trying. Like, I kept getting them in weird spots, and I'm like, oh my God, it hurts so much for like the whole day. What did I do wrong? But because it's in your muscle, like, and it's an oil, it's a thick oil, and you're pushing that syringe like, oh my God, why won't it depress? Like, the plunger is not, it's thick.
Right.
So, but I could do them. I did them in my upper thigh, or she could do them like in upper, like, butt muscle, kind of almost lower back area. But if you get someone to draw them up for you, like, visually, a lot of the stuff you can do. It's harder for people who are doing eggs, who are doing like straight up IVF with harvesting the eggs, because often you have to mix a powder and a liquid, and it's got to be mixed up right before you inject. But like, people get nurses. You could get a nurse, like an LPN, to come and do it and pay them a little bit on the side. Like, there are ways. There are always ways.
That's good. Because I'm like, I got a fear of needles. I don't know if I could do it myself, but maybe I could.
So there's a lot of needles. There's a lot of needles. You're doing blood work. You're doing a lot of blood draws in your arm, and then you're doing, if it works the way that I did it, you're doing progesterone shots every day for the first 8 to 10 weeks of the pregnancy.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I did a lot of blood drawn when I had YJ as well. I was like in doctors every week because I was diagnosed with gestational
Oh
diabetes.
God, I know.
So I
And let
had to
me
be
trying
pricked.
to do a blood draw on yourself, like to
Yeah.
do the Lancet and then to get, and I had the talking meter and I'm at work and it's like,
Oh,
your
me too.
glucose level is, and I'm like, could you not scream that so freaking loudly? Or
Yeah,
like
I
I
mean,
wouldn't get the drop properly on the strip and I'd have to ask a coworker, which feels so,
Weird. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
like
I hated asking
shameful.
psychedelics.
Yes.
Yeah, I hated that.
Mm.
So she's already on me. She's like, when you get pregnant, you're cutting this out and this out, and you're not having this, and don't ask
I
about this.
yes, I would go nearly keto, like very
Yeah,
low carb if I
That's why I told
was
her, I was
lucky
like,
enough
look, you're
again.
not
like
gonna,
no potatoes,
I
don't
said,
even
you're
ask.
not gonna be eating everything you were eating before. I said, because now this is why YJ is addicted to sugar.
Mm.
And I did it when I was pregnant with YJ. I craved all sugary things. I don't
I
know
didn't get
why.
cravings. See,
You did?
I want a pregnancy where I get to have cravings and send people out and like
Yeah. I
make
craved
them run for
pizza
me.
and ham sandwiches and donuts and apple
No,
fritters. And
I
I was
drank a lot of Sonic shakes near the end, but I was kind of like drinking them like I'm gonna feel gross later. I'm not gonna be able to sleep because the heartburn. Like, why am I drinking the peanut butter? What was it?
Right.
Peanut butter Oreo shakes. I love those. They're the best. They're still the best one, but
So good.
so she's already like on me. She's like, yeah, and you're doing walks, and we're going for walks. You're going to. I'm like, okay, sure. I
listen, at the end before labor, you're gonna walk with one foot on the curb and one
oh
foot in the
yes.
street.
Like I have a whole plan. It's just the fact of us
Yeah,
getting it going. Like
she has a whole.
YJ
She
gets
has a
so
whole plan.
mad because we're sitting there, we're talking about it, and he, and I tell her, I'm like, look, I said, when you're pregnant, you're gonna get a massage every week. You're gonna get this. You're gonna do that. And YJ says, well, I didn't get massages, and I said, well, YJ, I don't know what you did. I don't know what they did, but I was like,
Yeah, but if
So
you got a doula, you could do spinning babies. And actually, I like it's, she really wants a sibling. She wants one, and I want one. But one of the things that I learned with the doula is they take this thing called a rebozo, which is like a long, really super long rectangular wrap thing,
uh-huh.
and they can put it under your belly like you're kneeling on the floor with your arms down, and they put this thing under your belly and they just gently move it back and forth, and it takes the pressure off of your belly, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
massaging your belly and relieving the weight
oh,
of it, and it feels so nice. And Leah did that for me, but I would totally have Ami do it because it would be like a thing she would be involved in, you know? And like helping you do the stretches where they help you stretch your hips out,
sure.
and you do this thing where you're
Yeah.
like kneeling and then you have your head down like a tripod and it's opening like your
Cervix, your pelvis.
your pelvis, not your
Yeah,
cervix. I mean,
I'm going to
nothing.
pelvis.
Listen, induction didn't open my cervix. That's why we had 67 hours of labor
Oh my gosh.
and then a C-section. But hey,
Hey, join the club, Jess. I felt like I was in labor forever. I
no,
was
and
like,
this next one, if I was lucky enough, and I don't know anymore, but home birth. I want a home birth.
home birth. You know, my friends.
I'm scared, but I want it.
One of my good friends. They had a home birth, and they gave birth in the pool or in the water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know about that, but she,
Well, and
she did a whole
I know people who
video.
gave birth because they finally got sick of being in the pool. They stepped out when they lifted their leg and stretched it. It
It
made
broke.
everything shift just in the correct way, and that baby was like, "Here I am."
Oh,
Oh
really?
wow.
Yeah, because I knew somebody who did free birth, which means you don't have a midwife, a doula, or anything. And she said, and suddenly I just had this urge to do like a lunge position, and finally, that's when the baby came. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow. They were powerful to do
So
that.
to do
Mm-hmm.
a home birth at home, like, don't do you guys eventually go to the hospital or?
You get a midwife, a
Mhm.
certified, in Maryland, you have to have a certified nurse midwife. You cannot have a generally trained midwife. She has to be
Sure,
specifically
that's
nurse
fine.
trained.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, and they come and they are your OB care basically, and then they are
Okay.
there during the birth. And if you need a hospital transfer, you discuss ahead of time where you're going to go, and they help with that. But often, no, you birth at home, you cut the umbilical cord, and you stay in your bed with the baby, and they clean up and they take the pool away, and you're just home.
Wow, that does sound more relaxing than when I was in the hospital.
Yes.
Right. And you don't have to worry about social services coming in like, hey, you're
Yes.
blind. Can you take care of this
Oh my
baby?
God, that terrified me.
It
when
was
social.
well, and when you're having a C-section and they don't tell you that when they tap up that epidural that your arms are going to shake so incredibly hard
Yes.
that like I was like, you have to stop shaking. You have to stop your arms shaking. You have to stay present. And I felt so nauseous. And I was like fading out. Like, no, you have to stay conscious,
Yeah,
or they'll
that's
take
what
the
I
baby,
kept
they'll take
doing.
the baby, they'll take the baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what kept happening to me. I kept going in and out of. I was like, why
One
am I
of the
going
things
this?
I didn't remember, I had postpartum a little bit. Like it was mild. I didn't end up even needing meds. I got through, but it was hard. And I was a crying train wreck in that hospital for that few days that I was still in there. And they did send me a social worker. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Like I am a social worker too. I'm good. Like don't even try with me. But my doula told me that right after the surgery, and they really struggled to get my uterus back in because it was a 67-hour induction before we went to C-section. So you're very just it's not gonna like spring back like a little baby muscle right away. So they did a lot of work doing that, and then the we go to, I think it was called PACU, where you're in recovery, and my doula was helping to put the baby on me to latch. And the lady in there was like, don't help her do that. She's got to learn how to do that by herself.
Oh, wow.
And she told me that later. And I was like, that makes me feel so hurt and humiliated and angry. Like, how dare her? Because everybody else was amazing. Like the lactation people, everybody was great.
Right.
Like, they were great. But it's hard. You just never know how people
really
are going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to. I'm glad you kind of said that because that was going to be kind of my next question. Because I hear all these other like people interviewing other blind moms, and I was like, this blind mom. I wanted to talk to someone who, like yourself, and wanted to know if you experienced the same thing, as far as did they send a social worker in there because thinking that you were blind, you couldn't do it, or if they treated you different?
They didn't. Mostly, I feel like I was treated pretty well. I mean, I was definitely harassed and coerced into an induction. They did call my wife while I was at work and be like, can you schedule her? Which I was irate about. Like, how
They did?
they
Oh,
did.
wow.
They told me
That's not cool.
it was, and she was like, I don't run this show. She's the one in charge of this house.
She's like, look, y'all not gonna get me in trouble.
Hell no.
And like when I was doing that late term fetal monitoring and stuff, they were like, okay, well, we're now, so you're on the monitor. We're just gonna, the director of fetal medicine wanted to come, the chair of fetal medicine wanted to come down and talk to you. And I was like, so you're saying I'm stuck here? And she came down and was, well, we really, I've seen babies as healthy as yours, die within 24 hours. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I mean, all the things. And that's really common.
Right. Okay.
But that was not blindness. That was more, geriatric pregnancy. I'm not freaking geriatric. Shut up. Yeah. At least we're calling it advanced maternal age, which is nicer than geriatric because I'm not 90 pushing out a baby.
Right. It's just those terms.
Those terms kill me.
Horrible.
They really
Geriatric birth.
But yeah, like I think that's been fine. I have these moments of like, are people gonna judge us with our kid because we're two moms? And we have had some of that in this town where I live. Oh, you're grooming children. I mean, they've said that to my wife and just crazy stuff.
What?
Yeah. I have worried, like, what if they don't let kids play with my kid because I'm the blind mom, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's actually been better than I expected, but I'm always just so like, are we as connected as we would be if it wasn't for me or her or the gay thing or whatever? And you don't know. All you know is that your kid seems happy and comfortable and just loves you, and that's where we are.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Deal with that as well, because a lot of times I remember when I took YJ to trunk or treat event, and he was having so much fun and he was being with all his friends. And I remember like standing off to the side, and he comes to me and he was like, "Mommy, come watch me play this game." And I'm like, "But if they see me, are they gonna walk away? Are they not gonna play with him anymore because I'm the blind mom?" Like I've felt that. And so
Yeah.
it's like, but everybody was so nice, and some of the moms would come talk to me. But at first I was just like, should I just stand off to the side and let him, but him and his little friends, they are so sweet. And
Yeah.
he's always coming back to check on me. I'll be like, "Why'd you go play?" And he's like,
Right. And I it's kind and it hurts. Like I'm like, do
yeah,
you feel like you have to like some oh my God, we did a thing at her dance class and dance is hard because I miss it. And
yeah,
I will never be able to truly appreciate it. And she's
follow.
like, feel me, mommy. Feel okay, now you have to feel my legs too, which is so like it's sweet. I don't make her do it. I don't want it to feel like a burden. I worry. But like they did this little thing at Christmas time. They just made up dances like one class and then performed them
Yeah,
the next to some Christmas songs. And she was doing her dances and I noticed she'll come over and just leap on me, like grab, like tackle, hug me. And I
yeah,
think it's like this is how you see me. I'm here and it's amazing and
yeah,
I just want her to be okay and her to not feel like she's lacking in any way. You know what I mean? Or
yes,
like she's missing out because I'm missing out. Like I don't want her to feel burdened by that.
yeah.
So that's
Same.
hard.
Same. It is. And Vic, like she has some vision, but not all vision. But I feel like even she could see more of what he's doing than
Yeah.
I can sometimes. But she's very good at including me. But sometimes I'm just like,
No, I
I
co-parent with
really
someone who like today I was like, what are they doing? And she's like laughing and watching. She's like, huh? And I'm like, I don't get it. And she can't like she cannot describe her brain. She's on the spectrum and so she can't
yeah. Yeah.
translate from her eyeballs to her brain to her mouth in a timely way and then she just
Yeah.
gets so stuck and so she
Yeah.
can't and so then I'm just like okay so I'm the crappy like you just I don't know sometimes you just feel bad about it but as long as it's really about getting out of your head and reading
That's what it
them.
is. But when
and
Mm-hmm.
you gotta live in the moment.
yeah, like
Yep.
when they're swimming in the pool, I love when Vic's like, come see, come see. And when I'm up close, I can, because I have a good visual imagination. And sometimes they'll tell me, like, "Okay, we're throwing the ball." And then she throws YJ in the pool. And then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay." And then I'm taking photos and I feel like, okay, I'm in this moment.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
It's just a way of including, being
yeah.
able to include
Yep.
the other person, and it's it's hard for me too because I don't ever want to leave her out, and then
Don't.
and then
It's just me in my own head.
right,
It's our
and,
own insecurities as totally
Yeah.
right,
blind people like
Yeah.
there are these glaring moments and I never really grieved blindness until I had a
right,
kid.
Yeah, that's
right,
what it is.
right.
Yeah.
Because you're not like you worry about what you were doing, but then it's like when you're having a kid, you feel like you're missing out the precious moments. Like you said, her first dance. You want to see what she's doing up there. How's she moving? Is she doing it this way?
Yeah.
Is she
Even
making
my
a funny
pregnancy
face?
pictures, like my pregnancy pictures, the pictures of her growing, like
Hmm.
that's a thing that people take for granted.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm
Yeah.
so glad now, like the technology is advanced
Yeah.
now, and I feel like, okay, if I just use it, because sometimes I'll just put my meta glasses on and I'm taking a video or a picture of all of our family, and they don't even know it, and then they're like, "What are you
If
doing?"
Mark
I'm like,
Zuckerberg and all of their people didn't freak me out so much, I would totally get those. But like, I don't know. I feel
you
unsure
kind of,
right now. I just gotta
yeah,
wait and see what happens next. But
Right.
I want something like that for
yeah,
sure.
because it's really it's very helpful, and like
Yeah.
at his award ceremony, I felt like, oh my god, I'm a part of this.
Yeah.
I am taking videos like any other parent. This is
Yeah.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's really good because, like you said, you could run it through a Pixie Bot and it tells you everything that's going on.
Yeah. And she'll say, like, Mommy, can you take a picture of me? Because she got makeup. I
Right.
finally gave in. I was like, fine, you can have a little kid makeup kit because you
Right.
should at least get to play with it and try it out. And she
yeah.
made us up and gems on our forehead, like we had a little bindi and
Oh,
all the things. Nail polish that peeled off like Elmer's glue and all of it. But somebody did her makeup yesterday and she's like, can you take a picture? And I'm like, absolutely. You tell me when you look at the screen. So we did like front face screen and
yeah.
did them and I
Oh,
love
that's
that.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can still be a part of a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Yes. Awesome.
But I
All
want
right.
everything. I'm greedy.
Yeah.
She's a greedy
she's
mom.
she's my
All his
miracle. I want
moms.
every single bit of it. But you know
Moment.
what? I get the braille bumps reading time at night and the cuddle conversations and like
Yeah.
they get the quiet visual bonding moments of staring at each other and making faces and giggling, but I get the books and the talks. So it
Yes.
it
There you go.
balances.
There you
It
It
go.
does. It
balances.
does. Just like I get I'm the person he says prayers with. So
Aw.
that is I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's nice.
And he's mad when I pray with them too, but by that time I'm like, YJ, just go. Just go.
He's done something so bad. And then he goes, Dick, you wanna pray? And she goes, oh yeah, yeah. We need a lot of
Or you could
So
tell her, or you could tell her the worst. So when he's done something so bad
oh yeah.
and he's in trouble and he knows, and I done had a long conversation with him.
Everybody in the house has.
Everybody in the house,
Grandma,
grandma,
me.
everyone, right? And everybody else is talking to him, and I'm just like done. And it's like everybody's talking to him,
Oh yeah, but he's upset if he
but
doesn't.
he is so devastated. His lip is down to his chin. Like, if I do not say good night, if I don't give him like any type of attention, he is so mad. He's
but he needs to know it's that's attachment. So that's
yeah.
Yeah,
secure
it is.
attachment.
Yep. So
And
I have
so
to go
all
in
he
there.
needs, yeah,
No,
you have to do
I
that.
said, say something.
So then I go and I give him a hug. I'm like, YJ, it's okay, man. Just we're gonna start over tomorrow. Okay, Vic. Everybody, good night.
Oh,
I
that's
said, you
love.
have
He
I said, you
loves
have to
you, and he
say
just needs
something.
to know that you're not. My mind will be like, I'm the worst person ever. I
Oh,
Yep.
am a failure. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
baby,
Yep.
you're not.
Yes,
Like,
Yep.
you're
that's how he
making
is.
me hurt. Please stop
Yep.
saying that. Maybe you're saying that to make me hurt. I don't know.
Because he's
Because they're
very,
smart.
oh my God, if she's mad at him, he's like, I'm the worst. I'm the worst person. Pache, you're not. We're just letting you know what you can do better. Oh no. And if I yell, it's oh no. I because
Yes.
mommy never
Listen,
yells.
Leah
Like,
yells all the freaking time. My kid doesn't even care. She's just like, whatever. But if I yell, she's like on the floor,
yeah.
melted, like just inconsolable sobbing. I'm like, sorry. I just was startled. Like, I'm not. I'm the
Yell and
worst.
it's the
But I
end
also think
of the
that's
world.
I'm thinking ADD, so I think some
Yeah.
of it's that too. It's that, what is it, rejection dysphoria thing. Like, I'm learning so much, just trying to learn the best ways to be with her and to help her. And it's incredible. Like stuff I just never thought about.
That is true. Yeah.
You always have to learn.
It's a journey with these little ones.
And I remember saying to her, like, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have asked you, are you lying? Let's start out new and say, is that real or is that a story? She goes, why? Why are you telling me that? And I'm like, because I made a mistake, and grown-ups make mistakes, and I want to make it easier.
Yes.
I think that
break the cycle.
Yeah.
That is not how my childhood was.
Yeah. I think kids need that, you know? They need to know that
people need that
too. Yeah.
People need that, right?
Yeah, because sometimes we just don't.
I tell them, like, I'm sorry, kid. Like, because sometimes I am wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do that. I'm sorry. I thought you did.
Or you hear a thing and you think you know what you heard, and then you heard it wrong, and you're like, oh man, sorry. I'm sorry.
You have to apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, we've covered a lot, y'all.
Wow, this has been
I think it might end up being 5 hours long.
It might be. It's going to be a 2-part. You got to get someone to cut it in half.
Yep, we might have to do that.
One final question, Vic, that you wanted to ask her about the election and how she felt.
Oh, yeah.
How she feels, or did we touch on that? Or
kind of a little bit, but yeah. So, like I said before, I
took over. I'm sorry.
I know, you know, after the election, I realized that, you know, a lot of it was you were stressed. Everybody was stressed.
Oh my God.
But how have you dealt with it now?
So in the beginning, I was stressed personally and politically. I mean, we'll put it vaguely, but I was being harassed. And on top of fear of what would happen to my embryo and what would happen in this new era of a dictatorship, which is what it is, to me, in my view. I still think it's horrific, but I've also realized that whatever happens, I can't focus in so hard on it because I need to just be with my kid. And whatever happens, like if the world ended tomorrow, it's hugging her today, it's walking home from school holding hands. That really, like, and I just, like, we hold hands and I just squeeze it a little bit. I'm just like, that's my baby, her little baby hands in my hands. And it's so miraculous. And so whatever happens, they can't take that from me. Like, they can't take that joy, and I will go underground if I have to keep her. Like, they will never get her from me. Never. And I have this little tiny painting. I had an old coworker who was painting these tiny little watercolors. They're like 3x5s that you can frame. And she did one for us in rainbow because I asked, well, do you do any rainbowy ones? Because my kid loves rainbows. And it says, joy is a form of resistance.
Oh, there you go. I love that.
And I think that's really important.
Right.
I think it is in just having the ability to be present and to really soak it all in and just take it into your body and your spirit and like share that. And so, like, when my kid says, I had such a good day, Mom, like, I did good. And I generally have had a good day too because I'm with her. And like we talked about, so the other day we went to Walmart, and I don't like to take her to stores because she's like, can I have this? I want that, and I want that, and I want that, and I want that. And I'm like, stop listening to her or we're going to be frustrated. Just let her keep saying it. It's like she has this vocal tick, and it's fine because what we know is that we're not getting her every freaking thing on every freaking aisle. And so, but then all of a sudden we're walking, she goes, right. Because she hit the tiny little end cap of Pride merch at Walmart.
Oh, there you go.
At Walmart.
Right.
So she has a little rainbow tutu. It's one size fits all. And she was like, can I have this? I'm like, you can. It's perfect for you. So she's got a rainbow tutu. I'm going to wear it with my rainbow leotard and my rainbow high heels. That will be perfect. And I'm like, yep, you can wear that to dance on Wednesday and be a queen. Do it. We're doing it. There you go. So I think
incredible.
Like, it's so scary. And I used that embryo and I've really gone through my grief and, you know, it ebbs and flows, and it didn't work, but it's not in their hands.
Right.
No.
I did it. And I took it for myself and I claimed it, and it isn't what I wanted, but they don't have it.
Right. No.
And so that's kind of where I am with all of it politically, is I just have to be with my kid and I have to be a mom, and that's what I wanted and that's what I'm doing. And they want us to be afraid. They want us to hide. And I'm not. I'm going to hold hands with my little one and walk to school with her every day. And I'm not a parasite. And, you know, all of that stuff.
And that's what, and that's a way to wrap it up. Like that's what I was trying to say, like as far as pride goes and just standing up. Like, you know, I jump in all these different comments, you know, especially like you see CNN, you see all the local, you see all
got banned.
almost got banned, but like you see all these local channels like, oh, welcome to Pride, you know. Then you have all those people who are all against it and they just want everybody to be afraid, and oh, well, it shouldn't be Pride and it shouldn't be this and it shouldn't be that. But I feel like, you know what? F you. Like,
right.
I'm going to I did say that. And you know what? It's my podcast, so I could say exactly what I said.
I know, and I've been really holding my language back, but my
like I told this dude, I said, you know what? Because he's like, oh well, y'all should just stop pushing all of this, all of you, stop rubbing it in my face, and stop doing this. And this is y'all's problem. Everybody, just because y'all want to be gay, y'all think y'all just have to put it all out there. And I'm like, you know what? I said, your problem is you need a dick shoved up in your throat.
Right. That's what I used to say when men used to try to approach me. How do you know that you just haven't met the right man? And I'm like, well, how do you know? Maybe you need to try too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, next.
Right.
I used to get so mad. I was like, dude, y'all think y'all can have anyone you want?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, I wouldn't. And I just told her, because we were having a conversation the other night, and I'm just like, if I was, I said, that's a problem with some men out there. Like, you think that you could stick your little penis in every little vagina. And I said, as a gay woman, I wouldn't even want to put my tongue in every person's thing. No.
Right.
Like, y'all should have more standards than that.
Yes.
But it's about conquering. It's conquering. It's colonization. It's all that. That would be a whole nother discussion. But
yeah, that'll be a whole nother episode.
But I will tell you, my kid said to me this morning when I was brushing her hair and putting her little braid in for field day so she didn't have her ponytail falling out when she got water all over her head. She said, I'm a lesbian. What? She's like, yeah, because I'm an actor, so I'm a lesbian, right? And I'm like, no, baby, that's a thespian. Well, what's a lesbian? And I'm like, a lesbian is like when your moms are married, when two girls are married, or two girls like each other. That's a lesbian sometimes. But yeah. I was like, dude, please don't go to school. Please don't say that at school.
Don't say you're a lesbian.
Please don't say that at school. It's going to be a lot harder for you than it needs to be. And if someday you decide you like girls and boys or just girls, it's cool. We'll figure it out. But don't go to school and say that word. Let's just say actress, okay? Please just say actress.
That is too
diva, anything, but not lesbian.
Don't say that.
Don't do it. Trying to make it easier for you, but that was so funny.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, I think that we had
Shall I get her to say hi, Shades of Pride?
Yes. Let's welcome the queen.
Hold on, let me find her. We got the cat right now, but I'm on isolation mode for a minute. Cat, you gotta move.
Hi, Tigger.
We have Tigger on the show.
We have Tigger, and I'm even on voice isolation.
He did the cutest purr the other day.
Yes. He's cute. Hey, they want her, can she say? Say hi, Shades of Pride.
Hi, Shades of Pride.
Oh.
Shade of Pride. Shade of Pride. Shades of Pride.
Oh, Shades of Pride.
What did you get? What did you get that's rainbow at Walmart the other day? Yo, your bubbles. Yeah, you did get bubbles. What else? The tutu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Talking about the fried stuff. So that's a rainbow.
Uh-huh. So you're gonna wear your tutu tomorrow, right? Cool. All right.
Aww.
I love you.
That is it, folks. That has been the highlight.
That's been the highlight of the podcast today. That's it. She shut it down.
Like the queen.
Drop the mic.
She dropped the mic. All right, y'all. So, Jess, if anyone would like to reach out to you about anything, how could they reach out to you?
So they could ask you guys, or I guess, what do you usually do? Like not phone number. Woo! Email
Social
address?
media, or
Yeah, we
Or
can
any-
drop a Facebook link, or email, whatever you would like, or if you want them to reach out to us, and we can
And
Yeah,
get
so
you
we could do
connected.
my email is fine. So my email is Jess M as in Mary, Kell, KELL @gmail.com. And I'm a fertility nerd and I love to talk about all the baby stuff. And like I did so much research and so much just learning so many different avenues and so many different areas because of my diagnoses, and some correct, some not. So I love it. I love to talk about it. I love to talk about pregnancy. I love to talk about birth. And
yes,
yeah.
you and I and my other good friend who's a mom also. Well, I actually got two other friends that's mom. I need to start this Mommy and Mimosas club. So
You
we can
do?
talk about all things
Do you mean the
fertility.
one in our book club?
Yes.
Yes, I
all
love her.
all things fertility, all things babies. We just
Listen, she could write a book on her birth stories too.
Yes,
So
yes.
I love her.
Yes.
She's lovely. So
Yes. Yes. So if you guys would like to join a Mimosa group, reach out to Sharina.
Yes, I'm gonna put that together. I might
a
even
mimosa
start a
group.
WhatsApp. Mommies and mimosas.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a lot more mommies than you bargained for if you say mimosas.
Yes, that's what she's gonna do. That's what she wants. Or it could be the Hurricane Mamas group.
Oh, is
Or
the
the
hurricane
wine
gone?
o'clock mommies group.
Or the Wine O'Clock Mommies group.
Wine o'clock.
Wine
Yeah.
O'Clock.
Is the hurricane gone?
No,
no.
I still have it. I've been sipping it very
All
slow.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. So, but yeah. So, and for any of y'all, you guys know the email. Do you want to go off with the email?
Yes.
Shades of
Pride
Pod
at gmail.com.
Yes, or you can find us on Facebook at the Shades of Pride with Vic and Reena. And yeah, send in your comments, send in your show recommendations. And Jess, before we leave, I know we talked a lot about you, and you kind of hinted a little bit of what you do. So, what is your profession before we leave?
Oh, I'm a therapist. So I'm a social worker, LCSWC. So I work in telehealth now in part of a group practice. I am only licensed in Maryland right now, but we are actually working on getting a social work compact so that we can work in many states, which I'm really hopeful will happen because
Awesome.
clearly my cat needs therapy. Stop.
Okay, there you go. Well, they always say therapists have those soft couches in their office. So you can just have your cat there.
For real. Well, when I did in-person therapy and I worked in the methadone clinics, I had my guide dog for a long time. And let me tell you, she was definitely animal-assisted therapy, like unofficially, but even they'd be like, why is she laying upside down? Why is she showing me her belly? I'm like, because she's trying to make you feel calm. She's tapping into your stress and trying to help you.
Right.
You said that. I think Lotus does that to me all the time.
Oh yeah. Lotus
she's like, okay, you need to be calm now, mommy.
Yep.
Calm
She'll
down.
jump down and she goes and yells at her, go lay down.
She did yell at me today over dinner.
Yes. She went out there.
They'll yell at you because they want to be fed or they want you to be. They're like, get in your bed so you can pet me.
Yeah,
Yep.
because she's like,
You.
this loud bark, and I'm like, what is
Oh,
Yeah,
we
she
have
did
a.
the she did the howling slash like,
Oh,
hello, feed me. It's 4:34.
our dog definitely goes down to Leah and barks at her like incessantly when she's eating, like bossing her, like, feed me, feed me, feed me. I want your food. I want your. She won't do that to me because I'm like, no. And I'm like,
Y'all sit
sit.
down.
And she like does the play bow and then falls upside down. I'm like, good.
Oh,
That's what we want.
yeah.
All right, y'all.
Well,
Weird.
it's been a pleasure talking to you,
So
Jen.
fun. Sorry
Yes.
we went so long. I'm sure a lot of that was me, but it's
No,
you'll just
you
cut
are
it.
the best.
It'll
Y'all
be
are the
part one,
best.
part two,
Okay.
part 5.
Right. You know what? We may edit it. We'll see how long it is. If not, grab you some wine.
Long.
Grab you some
It might
hurricane.
be an hour, hour
You
and a
might
half.
grab one of each because
Yeah.
that's
Right. You can grab one of each, or you can.
Emotional, so
Yeah.
might want to
Yeah.
have some Kleenex too.
Yes. So stay tuned to our next episode, y'all. We are going to be doing is it Pride and Power. So we will definitely be.
Yeah, pride is power.
Yes, we're gonna hopefully have a guest for your next episode. So we are gonna sign off for tonight.
We're signing off. I